And we're back. We got a little special gift here today. We got a furnace to put in. This was under an emergency circumstance, and we are a little slow here in Michigan right now. I said, hey, I got my service call done. It's about 11 o'clock. We're going to get started. So here's our project. I think this unit was about 42 inches. So we're going to take it apart here. We're going to try to answer some questions while we're at it. These questions do come from the talk. So if you guys have questions, I'll try to answer them. Usually most of these questions are coming from the TikTok. So here we go. We're going to cut these pipes up. My blade's duller than it should be. Getting a little hot. I need to relax here. And we finally got the pipe cut. Anyway. All right. So, let's go through these answers here, or questions here. Oh, there's no real questions until I open the furnace up and get it out of there. Let's talk about what we're doing here. All right, so we're taking apart the electrical. We did turn off the power at the breaker. They do have a spot to hook up a generator, so we'll save that for future. It's just a switch plug combo. They had a condensate pump there. The AC is newer. All right, let's bring that up. HVAC Army, Jarrett from HVAC Army brought this up. Why not change the evaporator? I mean, you had to change the piston, question mark. I did not ever show that I changed the piston here. This is just a straight furnace swap. The coil, I think, is literally a 2020. So there was no need to even mess with the coil. So we would definitely give options if the furnace is, or if the furnace and AC is the same age. Definitely give them options, but it's up to the customer at the end of the day. This lady was in a, crunch to get her heat on. I had shut her down yesterday. Her rollouts her rollout was going crazy so bad that she could hear it in the ductwork. Here was one of the biggest challenges. Getting this old scuttle filter rack off of the unit. Now, we did save that, which came to bite me in the ass in a little bit. You'll see later. We did save that unit, though. Just the reconnect of it. Typically you're putting them things on the furnace and then just screwing them through the ductwork and then, putting them up. So retrofitting it in there was a little fun and challenging. Whoever installed this had broken a couple screws off. Here you can see me getting a little frustrated. Just got to regroup, get it back together, take a breath. Now, I did get comments about that running trap up there. A lot of people thought that was melted PVC. That is, in fact, just a running trap. Honestly, don't even need to be there. So I am going to remove that at a later video, but that is not burnt or melted. Here, we're still struggling to get this damn screw out. This is the life of the game right here. If you're new to HVAC, I promise you are going to have these days more than you're going to have good days. But the good days will outshine these days, man. Because after you get that screw out and you finally get it freed up, there ain't no better feeling. That is for sure. Alrighty. And we're still working on it. I think we're getting a little crampage here going on in the neck. I did get a comment from Tony S. He's been in the field for 13 years, residential, 2 commercial. He loves watching the Blue Collar Belt channel, and he can't explain it, but he just loves it. Which I love that. You love it, man. I appreciate it. Keep it coming. Keep the support coming. That's awesome. We're trying to build something special here. Trying to put out a bunch of Blue Collar Belt, employees, if you will. Just trying to show how I became and what I know. Try to share with you guys. So here you can see me obviously this thing is just about on my last nerves here. Yeah, I did everything from the right angle to the longer bit to the short bit. It's driving away at my patience at this point. There was 2 screws broken there. Again, we're still working on just pulling the dang thing out. You know, just checking to see if I missed a screw because it just feels so tight still. But you can see that the unit is just right against the wall and the water heater. Just a perfect scenario of no wiggle room. I do like to use a blanket while I'm working, not only for the knees, but for the customer's floor as well. I think I got it loose. I think we got it loose up front at least. I may be still missing one more screw. So as we get this thing out of here, you'll understand, you know, it is good to have 2 people. Not only for help lifting things, but just moral support. You can get very down on yourself real quickly if you're not able to adapt to this type of situation here. I've definitely seen technicians shut down because of an issue or a wall they hit. So if you can get over that hurdle, you'll be a great technician. Yeah, we're working on this unit still here. And I do believe we are in fast motion still. Alrighty. There comes a time where you're like, you wish you would have just sent the installers to do this and just went home on half a day. But hey, who are we, you know? I like to get in the mix. I do enjoy doing this type of work right here. I think we're moving. At this point, I've about had it. Let's see if we can break it loose from the back. Quite possibly. Out of solutions at this point. This screw that's broken in there is just nailing me royally. So did I make it? I don't know. Alright, I think I got it. Gotta get this tape off of here. The tape to the furnace is just an absolute mind boggle to me. It looks so distracting. In my opinion, I wish we didn't use tape on anything. As you'll see later, how I seal the furnace ductwork that I will do. I think that, in my opinion, is a much better look. It's still the code in our area, so we don't need that mastic and really don't need that tape if the ductwork is sealed up. So we're working on that tape. We're going to get that out of here, and we're going to push this furnace out. Still got more on this side. Mike Claplin had asked if we have a sheet metal shop. We do not have a sheet metal shop in-house. Typically, if we do have a crazy transition or a special part that we need, there is a local guy that does do our metal work for us. So he's awesome. Learned a lot from him. But usually I do make everything on site. So here we go. We're going to try to get this furnace out of here. This is my go-to method. We use the crowbar. We're getting myself a little bit of leverage here. Just trying to get that brick out of there. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. Get the brick out of there. Oh, broke the furnace right there. All we got it. Let's move on out to the back side. It's just hanging there. And no, we're dropped. That coil is supported good. So we're going to move on over to the back. I'm going to try, but to no avail. Need those back bricks out of there. They need to be out of there. I'm just checking to make sure I don't have an extra screw I'm missing here. I also got a comment from Barn Waggler. Try the 6-inch box train makes to increase the return air. I totally agree. Did not have that on such short notice. But if you can pull from the return air from the bottom at any time on any furnace, I think that's the best method. But here, this furnace was, I do believe, 44 inches. So I still would have had to make a transition on the supply air, as you will see later. That transition was like 11 1/4 inches. So that 6-inch, I still would have had to be making something. So yeah, we're just prying the furnace up, getting the pry bar under there. This is honestly the best way I figured out how to, pull a furnace out, especially when they have things underneath of them and you got to keep that coil. Just drop it. As long as that coil's supported good, you should be in good shape. Yeah, we got it. She's dropped. It's free. We're pushing it out. We made it. That's a good feeling. And we're pulling. We're pulling it out. This thing's a old Goodman builder grade. Got a big old blowout in the first bend here, right out of the burner compartment. Just making sure that we're all level. We got a little bit of play on that ductwork. I'll worry about that later. Moving on. Get this puppy out of here. Fun fact, I did not have a cart for this job. Ended up carrying this furnace out from the stairs with a helper. You'll see the helper in a little bit. There's our blowout. Now someone said, had a comment that said that cracked heat exchangers is a scam. I just trust your technician. That's all I gotta say. Moving this magnet they had on the ductwork for no apparent reason. I didn't like it. I didn't want it in my shot. So we moved it up. There's just magnets all over the place. We're going to do the right thing and not be a degenerate, and we're going to sweep up after ourselves before we make another mess. So always good to just try to keep up with the mess as you keep going. Right there. But now we got a good, clean working area to work with. We're going to put them back on those bricks. But I am going to put some rubber down on the bricks for the furnace. This was very a good topic here too. Why not just get auto shears? Well, for one, I do not want to just carry around auto shears. Yeah, I do agree I should probably get a connector for my drill. But this is how I've always done it. I will say my snips need to be replaced. Those snips are probably 5 years old. So we're getting all the insulation out of there and whatnot. But that was a big comment. Why didn't I get auto shears? Don't get me wrong. The company does have auto shears, just not on my van. So we're going to put... I'm sorry, I had a brain fart there. We're gonna seal up the ductwork with some foam tape. The return coming into the furnace, make sure that's all sealed. Everything before the filter, who cares about, right? So we're moving the furnace in. We're setting it on the bricks with the rubber pads. and we're moving forward. Kenny, Mr. Refrigeration Man, if no one noticed that first swing, it was a doozy. Yeah, Kenny, I was hoping no one noticed that, man. What can I say? You miss a lot. But we have fun. We recovered. We got it open. All right, we're backing up. We're making sure everything's lined up and tight. I did end up putting 2 S-strips on the other side. It was sagging a little. Then we screwed in the furnace to the old scuttle filter, which did prove to be just as challenging as taking off the scuttle filter. So I will save you the pain and misery on that. Just know I had fun doing it. Those are character building moments, in my opinion. And someone had asked, does hitting the furnace to open it up hurt it? I don't think so. I only give it a couple good whacks. I think the furnace would have to fall down a flight of stairs to really be hurt. I mean, it's a train now. Come on. It's gonna take a lot to hurt that thing. Yep, here we go. We're gonna screw this thing back in. And again, without an extra man pushing against the furnace, the screw just kept wanting to get pushed out. You can see frustrations happening. It's just how you overcome it, man. I just know a break was needed after this part right here. A break was needed. I'm knee deep in there with no avail. No luck. It just keeps missing. I keep dropping it. Real life stuff here. And I'm about to put it on 5X just so you know what we're dealing with. Let's try another method. That method is not working. I'm going to put the... Oh. Man, we got to take a break. So it was getting the best of me right there. Yep, just regather your thoughts. Try to get your emotions as well checked as they can be. And just know there's someone else out there probably going through it just like you. And I've had it. We're moving on. Let's figure out how I did this plenum here. All right, so we got angle S strips. We're zipping to the furnace and the bottom of the coil with 1/2-inch screws, zip screws. So that will give me a good base start for how I made this transition the S strip way. And we're measuring here. Trying to find something. A straight edge. Use my flat bar. Make sure we have a straight edge on this side here. There was a straight edge on one side. So we measured off of that. And we got our distance of our offset. As you'll see here, I'm going to measure to the wall. And to the furnace, I had less of an inch on that side, so I know I have a 1-inch offset we need to make. So I think we had a 17-inch furnace and like a 18-inch coil, which that don't make sense to me now that I'm saying it, but it was offset. Maybe that's how I put the S-strips on. Yeah, that's probably how I put the S-strips on. Anyway. So, I know I need to add 1 inch to each side because that's where I'm going to have my S-strips for the front and back. I'm grabbing my marker here, which is my flathead. Hey, if you're joining with me, sit back, enjoy. Let's talk about, what we do. Let's go. We're all having a good time here, right? So... back to marking this. I mark the bottom, get my height, and I mark 1 inch more in for that offset. And we just got a strip to make a straight edge here. Using that screwdriver. And we made our first mark. Here we go. Again, this does take, some time. If you're starting out in installs, I would definitely make sure you get the sheet metal down first. Everything else, in my opinion, is going to be a breeze. But I know installers that just don't do sheet metal, and they call one guy to do all the sheet metal work. And I don't know. It's just better to be well-rounded. You can do everything that brings more value to you and your company. So here we go. We're gonna measure the same two pieces for the front and back. They're the same size. There's no offset on either the front and back. Sometimes you will have an offset on the back, and you need to compensate for that and make 4 different pieces. But this time I was able to do two the same sides and two of the front and backs are the same. So it was a pretty easy plenum. Definitely got to have the bigger shears on this one. Save the wrist as much as you can since we murdered them for making that return opening. This is just an extra piece I want to get out of there. I like to keep the sheet metal clean. That piece would have been rendered useless pretty much. So here we go. Make our second back cut of the day. And hey, we're almost done. At least I thought we were done almost with this install, right? After I got that filter battle done with, it's like, man, it's almost done. At least you feel that way. You may get 1 or 2 things done, but it all comes in the end. And there's a lot of small tasks to make an install look good. So we're notching the corners out right now. Like I said, we're going to make a 1-inch bend to catch the sides with an S-strip. At the end of the day, if you use a Pittsburgh, if you use S-strips, I don't think it really matters as long as you're sealing it up and it looks nice. A lot of people say I need to ride with a Pittsburgh in the van. I disagree. There's definitely applications where, a service, if a service guy has a Pittsburgh in his van, that's just wild. I've never seen it. If you know anyone, tag them in here. But I don't have a Pittsburgh rolling around with me, and that will answer a lot of questions there. Squishy Man asked that. Here we got a good one from Justin Lewis. Why not transition from the coil to the furnace? Now, there was, if you can't see it back there, but there was no room to drop that line set any. They had put it right above a drain line. So even if I wanted to, we could have dropped the coil down and had a line set in the middle of everything. Or, we could have cut the return air up, I guess, and put 10-inch blocks in. And Yeater had said, you build that transition on site? Absolutely, I build this transition on site. I built a ton. I'll build a right angle boot on site if I could. Just don't ever get the time to. So you get into that service world, this is pretty much, some springtime and maybe a little bit of fall. You may have a chance to do this at, a small company. So here we go. We're going to make some cross breaks, and I just use my bender, my 18-inch bender. Just a slight bend. Get it in there. We got a nice clean bend going there. And we'll do it the other way. And we'll do that to all 4 pieces as well. That only not only looks good, but that does help with noise if you had some duct popping. This is going to definitely make sure that don't happen. So that's the importance of the cross breaks. So here we go. We're going to bend them in. Make sure they're always bent the right way. You get into situations, hey, maybe you don't remember which way is which, and you bend them the wrong way. Hey, that's okay. Flatten it out and rebend it with the flat bar again. I feel like there is no mistakes made unless you cannot fix them, which in this industry, in any trade really, is there anything that we cannot fix? Like, come on now. All right, let's go fit it. Let's fit it. Let's get that thing out of our way, and we're going to fit this puppy in there looking good. Now, those S-strips did give me a little challenge at first. They did have a little jagged edge in them, so I will get my screwdriver to open up one end, slide that thing in there. Joe says he likes the way I did my transition. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. So the real story behind this is I did learn this from a guy, but we did have a Pittsburgh at the shop I was from. We would do our Pittsburghs and whatnot, but we would be in Toledo area, and he was in Northwood. So I don't know. I just started doing it this way to save my time from running all across the city to do a transition. So, also, the way to get good at these transitions, in my opinion, is if you ever have to rough one in, maybe do it out of cardboard first and just, get the feel for, the transitions and the different angles you may have to use. That I felt like once I roughed one in cardboard, it was a game changer for me. Something just clicked with the metal. I've tried to teach people metal, and it takes them a long time. And then I'll say, hey, let's just throw this one up with some scrap cardboard real quick and see what you got. And they'll do it, and it won't look half bad. And I'm like, why don't we just do that with metal? And something will just click. So if that helps anybody, that is my story on that. Definitely a rough road with the sheet metal, though, at first. But that was definitely one of the one tasks that I honed in. Like when I was an installer, you can see I put that S-strip in my way here. We're gonna remove that. But when I was an installer, my God, I would go in there and I would want to do the sheet metal first and then do the venting. Like those are the two jobs I would want to do, man. Just because you knew they were the hardest jobs to do, and if you're doing them, that's just only making you a better service tech and a better installer. I mean, if you're a service tech and you haven't really installed, it's hard to understand. Maybe this don't need to be in, or maybe this needs to be 3-inch pipe instead of 2-inch that they ran, or some of those things you may overlook. Being an installer, knowing the manual, you start to know those things, and you come up to somebody else's install, and you're like, oh man, this isn't installed correctly. It needs this and that. So I definitely think going through the trenches, maybe doing, an install and then doing service after work I think that is a good go-to. As you can see here, I am going to put that S-strip on there. That allows me to hit that with my hand there without getting all cut up. So we did guide the other S-strip in and slid this side piece in. We're going to do the same here. There's a 1-inch tab right there. Put an S-strip on. And we got our next piece. We're going to slide that in and move on forward. Yeah, this water heater is getting replaced as well. I wish I could have did it first, but hey, here we are. And doing a humidifier is going to be pretty fun too, because I'm not going to be able to hang the humidifier back there on that return. So that'll be unique. That'll be a good unique install there on the humidifier coming up. So anyway, we're sliding that S-strip back into place and getting it locked in, and we're good to go. And I did have a question from Someone had asked, Powerhouse Handyman, you don't seal the ductwork from the inside. I do not seal it from the inside. I have sealed the ductwork from the inside before. It's just in this application, everything's pretty tight. We do hit all the holes with silver silicone, and that looks clean, and everything's all sealed up. Or use tape. Teach their own. So we got all three sides in now, and we're rocking out. We're definitely on the downhill now. I had bent that S-strip a little too much to get that piece in there, but hey, it looks good now. We got our cross brakes looking good. They all match up. Let's get this last piece in here. We're going to put that bottom S-strip in. Now remember, that is an angled S-strip. So that allows me to slide that thing right into the furnace. I can get it right into that 1/2-inch tab on the furnace, which I start with. Then I get my sides in, and we start pushing from bottom to top, just like so. And grab that top S-strip, and remember, that's a angled S. So all I gotta do is get it flush with the air conditioner, or evaporator coil. And I'm not too sure about. I'm getting that screw out. We're getting a screw out of that strip at this point. Now we're looking good. We're all lined up, flush. I'm happy. It's looking good. Yeah. Making sure everything's nice and snug. We're gonna zip some screws in there and send it. And move on to the next task. Now we're definitely on the downhill. Yep. I do love this, man. This is a very beneficial trade here. You can step back and look at that and just feel so good in your, look at that. Hey, here's my helper. We're going to move this. We're going to do a little bendy bend, with the conduit on the electrical. Let's see what we can come up with. I think maybe a little bit more. I think we almost got it. Right where that box is. So that was coming right down in the way of the way I wanted to take my intake air. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. That's a nice straight. Once that gets up to the unit, it'll look good. And hand me the wrong one. Yep, that's all good. We digress. And we're moving. Yep. I think we're going to take the pipe up now. So, yeah, a lot of these retrofits, you got to kind of adapt. You can kind of see that intake air is a little crooked. That's how they sent their 90 down to begin with. Here we go. We got our electrical in, zipped up. There's that generator cord. We're just going to make our connection into the furnace. So we're going to break that off, snip it out, get it out of there, and send our wire in. Now, those Kleins right there, I highly recommend. I do everything with those things. Cut, crimp, strip. Man, that's a shirt right there. But anyway, we're going to put our connector on. We do got the red interface, or red, I'm not sure what they call them, but we put it on backwards. We're going to put it in there correctly. We do have the red caps that go inside the unit here too. So we are good on that. We're going to take the box from the inside of the unit and redirect the wires and cover the cap on the outside with a new plug. You want to make sure all these plugs are in place after you're done. Make sure you put your gas line plug in. Make sure you have your condensate line plugged in. Any open plugs, yeah, they need to be done. So we're getting the electrical done. And this is how it is, man. You're just moving, doing one thing at a time. We got our return air done. We got our supply air done. We got our vents done. Now we move on to electrical. And then we do our, I think low voltage was next. Or gas. And we're in there. We are in there. Make sure everything's all good to go. Got to pull her down a little bit. Make up for it. We're in there now. And like I said, we're going to move that plug over. This is all acceptable inside the unit. Hey, back to my bag. I'm going to do a full-on bag review here. I'm working on it. I want to do it right after a hard day where I just kind of threw stuff in there just so you guys know what it goes through. I usually rock the bag without the flap over top. It's just that open-faced bag I like. So here we are. We're going to move that electrical over. All electrical is in furnace and ready to go now. I may have already done the gas line. Maybe I missed that. It was a pretty much basic connect. If I don't show it, I did add a coupling and another pipe extender. Oh, they don't like to call them pipe nipples around here. They're pipe extensions. So we're getting the electrical done. Getting into the bag of the goodies. And a plug for the spot where it used to come out. I digress. I'm sorry. This was the plug for the gas line. Yes, I did already do the gas line, and I forgot to send this in. So I'm going to split it in half, and it will be nice and sealed, nice and tight. We'll move on from there. My knife is duller than ever right now. We need to get a new blade. That's the typical life. Never a dull moment, just blades. So, we're cutting. What are we cutting here? I forget. What was it? Oh, the rest of the... We're just going to slip that in over the gas line connection. Then we'll move on. That kind of got... You kind of get distracted in this, you know. I should have definitely had that in there, but I am not an installer. I don't do this every day. We're a service tech here. This is learning on the way. All I know is we will make sure it's set and operating properly. And we're going to move the cover. The cover needs to have the electrical coming out inside the furnace. Not sure what I'm battling with at this moment. Looking for the wire nuts that I just brought down there. Putting a cover in that for the front. I'm going to be able to poke it through so there's a clean connection with no metal on the electrical. Slide that in. Try never to have metal touching wire or wire touching metal. However you want to put it. We're all here to learn together and have fun, right? And we got that 14 and 1 from Klein, that HVAC screwdriver. Man, that thing is a freaking gold mine there. It's nice to have all those bits in the handle. It's easy to use, goes in the Vito pretty nicely. So we're all hooked up, ready to go, sealed up. We got the wire coming into the furnace. We just need to find wire nuts. We'll make the wiring connection. I did need to splice the low voltage wiring, so I did have to go out there and grab some low voltage. Got that all done. And I think it was almost done, if I am correct. Well, we got a condensate pump. It still needs to be put on a condensate. We still got to do that. So we're almost there. We're putting our wire nuts on. Nice and tight. Twist them right. And I do believe everybody got answered. Oh, the gas pressure will get set at the end of it. We'll go over that. The gas pressure was definitely off at this unit when it first got started up. So we'll go over that. Got our condensate pump in there. We're moving forward. Not sure what we're doing. We're plugging in. We're not going to leave it like that. We're just getting it all ready to go. I did need to run a new condensate tube. I don't think I showed that, but we ran a new condensate tubing. It's running about 10 feet over to their. They got a standpipe over there by their washer, so we're just dropping it in with the washer. Condensate neutralizers are not required yet here. Hey, we're back. We got it all tidied up. As you can see, the condensate wire is curled up nicely. We got clamps down. We got zip ties down. We got a new line down. And we're getting our little bit of condensate going. I am going to come back at a later date and add a humidifier. So when I come back for the humidifier, I'll add the humidifier drain and the AC drain all in one. We got our offset going for the pump. Nice and easy with the glue and primer, man. You don't need to just be dripping it all over the place, but just make it clean. As clean as can be, right? So we need a little piece here. We got that. We're going to make that happen. We'll just take it off the bottom. I don't ever really like the pipes to touch the bottom of the pumps. May have a little bit of problem draining, especially if you don't have the vent on there. But Train does require the vent to be on there, so that's what we do. And make sure that pump ain't going nowhere. A little off. We need to correct that. As you get going on installs, you'll start to be a little OCD with things, and this pump was driving me nuts. It wasn't fitting quite right on the pad. It kept tilting over every time I screwed her into the unit. So we're gonna make our connection here, glue primer glue, and we're off to the races. Now I think I went and got some silicone and put a little riser piece on for the top. Yeah, I like to silicone that in there. I had already put cleaner on the pipe, so it got stuck in there with the plastic. We're gonna re-glue that all up. I'm gonna run out to the van. I got my gray silicone with me, silver silicone with me. This is what I'm gonna use to seal the ducts up too. So we're gonna use this up. We're gonna seal we seal the intake air with this, and we seal the condensate. Alrighty. Just a nice little bead all the way around the pipe. Just a nice, clean bead. That's all you can do. It wasn't flowing right away. Still wondering what's going on here. Did I poke it or what? Well, now she's coming. Alright. Back at it. Clean little bead all the way around the pipe. And we're in there. I like it. Get that out of there. Put in. Pump. And into furnace. And then just clean it up ever so slightly. And rub that silicone on that blanket. So, it is even. It is even. The camera's not doing it justice. I'm going to make a information pamphlet for the unit. So all we use is a 10-inch duct increaser or reducer, whatever you want to call them. In my case, this is an increaser. So we screw the bottom. We bend in the sides. Got it all nice so no one would cut themselves. And you screw that bottom in. And you set your information pamphlet in there and just take a look at that install from a service technician. I mean, that electrical's coming down there nice and tight. The venting's looking good. I love it. I do love doing this stuff, guys. This is a very rewarding trade right here. Copy that in there. And like that. That just goes right in. That's all it needs. Now we do vacuum this unit out. At least I do. There's PVC shavings, you name it, it gets in there. Metal shavings. You just pick up after yourselves, man. Don't let them know it was even installed, you know? Back you up and just look at all this stuff that does come off of this blanket here. I mean, my God. That's why we gotta clean up after ourselves. You know what? I was looking for those snips too. And they're in my pocket that whole time. Unbelievable. All cleaned up. We're going to fold that up. We're sweeping. We're looking good. We're going to start it up. On startup, we did check static pressure, make sure we were in line, make sure we set the blower taps correctly, and we checked gas pressure, temporize. Temporize was great. I think we were at like 35 degrees. Our gas pressure was high though. Our gas pressure was high. We were at 3.8 coming out of the factory. I did adjust her down. When I do come back, I will do a combustion test on this unit to make sure we all dialed in as good as it can be, and go from there. Did get a little later. I think I got this done in about 5 hours, so it was about 5:30 for me. I did take a lunch, so yeah, it was about 5 hours, and felt a little rushed at the end, which I try not to be. So it does look clean. It did turn out good, though. I was happy with it. And just, yeah, all that. You just got to clean up after yourself. So we're moving on, man. Back to the furnace, too. And then we'll fire up and get out of there. That was a good install. So yeah, that humidifier, as you can see, isn't going to have a lot of room to do much. So that'll be a unique install. And I did make quite the mess. I should have cleaned up more as I went. I digress. And we're going to seal the corners up all nicely. This is the game changer for me, the silver silicone. If you can use it, use it. It looks nice to finish up an install. Just make sure when you're spreading it out, your hands are wet. And it spreads nicely. And again, we're going to hit the back up. We're going to make sure it's all sealed up nicely. As you can see, we got some liquid going there to smooth that out. We're finishing the install off nicely. Turned out pretty good for the service tech, if you will. Yeah, we gotta use a little bit more lubricant. We'll get it spread out nicely. Now I can see why people wouldn't want to use silicone. Silicone can definitely get out of hand fast. That's why you just get your hands wet and clean it up from there. We'll put a little bit more on this one. When I come back, we'll see how good it was sealed up though, after a good week's runtime. Because I don't think I'll be back here for a humidifier water heater for about a week. We're doing startup. We're gonna change her filter. Got a new filter for her. And vacuum out that return cabinet. Get the vacuum turned on. And we'll vacuum out the returns. We'll vacuum out all the stuff inside the furnace. So when I come back to it, it will look nice and neat. We'll seal that all up, get that good. I mean, really, this furnace should look just like it is when I leave it. Everything's sealed from the outside. There's nothing coming in except from inside or from outside air. It should look good. We'll slide that filter in there that they get. Put the old scuttle cover on. And we'll do our checks. Our check and balances. That filter wasn't quite the right size. But we move on. It's in there. My silicone was leaking. We're going to move that out of my way. Alrighty. So here we go. We got our knee pad. We're going to do our checks. We got our manometer in our bag. We'll check gas pressure. We'll check static pressure. And verify unit is in good shape. Now I am going to go after the filter. I am just checking the static on the furnace itself. Now, I'm going to note that. And if I see any changes in service history, I can at least reference to what this furnace was doing on startup day one. So maybe they did a remodel and cut some returns and made the static bounce up. All these are going to be noted. I will check return, note that. I will check supply, note that. I think we were riding at about a 0.6 for full static on the system itself. Gas pressure is 0.25 high right out of the factory.